But let me tell you, there's one thing I'd like to do, and that's I'd like to welcome everybody to another exciting edition of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. So that'll be a jasp on you. Oh! All right. Let's see what we got going on here. We're looking all around. Hey, Gunter. Hey. All right. Who is it? Hey, hold on a second. That's Brandon Young right there, huh? Hey, Brandon. I'm over here. You see me?
Hi.
Hey.
Yep.
Hey, that's Bobby Bang Bang. Hey, y'all don't know each other. What are you doing over there, Bobby Bang Bang?
It's Bang Bang, Bobby Bang Bang. Hey,
oh,
what you doing, man?
What the fuck, man? Oh, shit. Good thing I came over here, huh? What's up?
Oh, thanks for coming by, Ayin.
Oh, shit.
We're just talking, man. We're talking about magic.
Magic. Oh, my goodness. I arrived just in time. It's one of my favorite topics, huh?
Yeah. And, Bobby, what were you just talking about? We were just talking about,
I think we started getting into NASA a little bit there. JPL, aka Jack Parsons Laboratories, right? UFO stuff.
UFO and the occult, and how they're both like intertwined. You know what I mean? They're both they're part of each other. You know, like even someone like Whitley Strieber, I found out. You know, Whitley Strieber. You know,
Communion, right?
Communion fame and all that, right? He released a book, or he's doing it with Peter Levenda, and Levenda was talking about Process Church and Final Judgment, if you've ever heard of them. And
Process Church, right?
Process Church, and it turns out that Whitley Strieber was heavily involved with that. He's doing a documentary on that, and got like kicked out of there and all this stuff, and so even like mainstream people. You know, it seems to evolve some kind of invocation. You know, these people go out, like Stephen Greer. You got Stephen Greer out there from the Disclosure Project. And he's saying that he takes people out there, and he says you set up a mind pathway for these entities to come down, and it works all the time. And it must work. It's just thousands of dollars to bring people out there to do it.
Thousands of dollars for what?
To see UFOs, you know, or see some sort of craft out in the sky.
Who do you pay the thousands of dollars to?
Stephen Greer.
To Greer and
Stephen Greer. Oh, yeah. Well, listen, you can do it for free. There's a guy that he does shows around California, and he's the UFO Whisperer. Have y'all heard about him? This guy, listen, I mean, he gets his name, I guess, after the dog whisperer. He's an older man. He doesn't allow any negative stuff, and they start doing their shit in like downtown convention centers in like LA and shit like that, and cars just start pulling over. People start jumping out of their cars and putting up their phone and shit like that. He delivers the most astounding UFO footage that anyone's ever seen. He summons them, but there is kind of a caveat, not a caveat, but a way to explain your way out of it. A lot of people say, oh, that's just a balloon. But you've never, because these things can mimic and mask their appearance. You've never seen a balloon like that. It's like morphing into itself and then it starts doing a dance and shit. I mean, it's fucking unreal. And the people that pay to be at this convention, they're just like, almost like falling down and shit. And this guy just does it time after time. He never does a show that the UFOs don't show up. And another person that never does a meeting or show that the UFOs doesn't show up is Drunlevo Melchizedek. Do you know who he is?
Drunlevo Melchizedek?
Yeah, Drunlevo Melchizedek. He's the guy who wrote the book back in the 70s, I think, the Sacred Geometry of the Sacred Flower or something, wasn't it?
Okay.
Is that what it was, Bobby?
I don't know the titles. I'm familiar with, I've seen a couple of his lectures, but I haven't read any of his literature.
I would be a complete devotee of him, except that the information that I've got from John Lamb Lash it keeps me from being involved. And you know, I'm almost like parroting because, you know, y'all know that I do mention John Lamb Lash a lot, but another person in regards to this experience and these, you know, subjects that y'all are bringing up that I can't help but mention because it's already come up twice in my mind over what y'all are talking about just in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and that's Josh Reeves. And And Josh Reed, you know, the young man that I made that video of the assassination of Josh Reed's. Well, let me just start off, since I just got here, just dropping a couple of bombshells, if I may. I heard somebody mention Peter Levenda. Peter Levenda, right? We know he writes some books, and he's out there. He's on his own. He's circuit. All these guys are on circuit. They're going, they're peddling their wares and stuff like that. I'm not saying that they're not talking the truth. It's weird how the whole system works. But I'm just going to talk about a conspiracy. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying I've heard this, and Josh Reeves brought it up. Y'all aren't going to fucking believe this. I mean, it's almost like trying to. Y'all know about the Necronomicon, right?
Of course, yeah.
Well, the Necronomicon that we have, and I've got one probably right over here in the drawer or whatever, it was actually released, I don't know, in like 1968 or some shit like that, or maybe early 70s, by Avon Books.
Right.
So it was just like the same people that were putting out romance novels and shit like that put up the Necronomicon. And it's all sensationalized and everything, but there are people swearing up and down that the man who wrote the Necronomicon and got paid to do it and just did it as a mercenary is still alive and amongst us today, and that man is Peter Levenda.
Absolutely, man. I've been talking about that. I talked about that all the time, man.
Oh, you knew about that already?
I was talking about that a couple of years ago with Douglas Dietrich on his show,
Oh, maybe I found it out from you.
And what was really interesting, I'm not the only one saying that. I found out that information, but there's a lot of things that lead me to that conclusion. But when I was talking to Doug about it, we were exploring the connections between that and the Temple of Set. And what was going on at the same time, every time Doug and I had a show, because I was started going on that was a show, it was, every other week and every week. And then, Douglas always talks about Aquino, he was,
It almost seems like Douglas, kind of mirrors some of the stuff that Aquino's saying.
Yeah.
Even though Douglas Dietrich is probably the most vehement opponent and accuser of Michael Aquino.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, isn't part of his thing that he works for him, or that
he was a librarian at the Presidio military base, which is an old military in San Francisco. And at that, there was a scandal there at the McMartin preschool in San Francisco and stuff. Yeah,
right.
But in addition, he was sort of a liaison, because Aquino would, as a military officer and a chaplain and all this stuff, he would ask for the book, the works of John Dee sent to him, so he could actually read the original manuscripts and do rituals around them, all kinds of stuff. My point about that was, at the same time, we started getting these gang stalkers, okay, out of nowhere. And
Doug did?
Well, me and Doug, and there's this guy, Dr. J. Dr. J Live. He has a show, Dr. J Live. So the next Tuesday, I was going to be on with Douglas. Dr. J has on Peter Levenda at the same exact time. And then right after that, the very next week, I was on again. He has on Levenda. And I was saying, there's a connection between Levenda and Aquino. I don't know what it is, but I did end up finding out. The very next Tuesday, we have Levenda and Aquino on at the same time. Now that video is off of YouTube, but they were basically chatting it up like old friends, So, what Doug told me about the Necronomicon is there's actually a tulpa. Because the Necronomicon is seemingly gibberish, right? I have a book over there. But yet E.A. Correa works. E.A. Correa's basically changed his life from it. There are countless different people who changed their life from it. It's always in print. If you go into Barnes and Noble right now and you go into the occult section, you'll probably find the book. And it's so he said there's a tulpa or an egregore kind of protecting that book, so it keeps being in print, keeps it out there, because what it is they're obsessed with the anti-gods of Lovecraft, and these anti-gods are sort of like the Quillipox.
The elder gods. The gods before the gods.
Right, and so Lovecraft was onto this, but he was talking, but there's all these different translations, like you could call them the elder gods, you could call them in different traditions, the Quillipath, you know what I mean, the fallen cosmic entities from universes that...
I made this, it was like a switch flipped, and I made this decision, and it was get better, right?
Wow.
And the moment that I made that, it was like the earth started to rumble, and inside my chest started this thunderous rumbling, and I'm like confused by it, like what the fuck is going on? And then time slowed down, like when you're in a serious accident, like a car accident, and I start to realize that this sound isn't just coming from inside me, it's also coming from up above me. And I look up, and this limb is separating from the tree up above me, like directly above me, that I'm sitting under. And it's probably like 2-3 stories up, and it's fucking, it's a big limb, like at least a few hundred pounds, and it's breaking away from the tree, and it's falling in slow motion, everything's slow motion, and it's the way that I'm just in awe with my jaw open, like looking up, it's set to impale me. Like, and everything's going in slow motion, and I get flooded with these emotions, like how beautiful, like what a significant way to go, and this is how I die, and oh my God, this is beautiful, and it's like I'm being hugged by God, and like feeling like
and or something, yeah.
Just like I think it was an accidental Kundalini type thing.
Yeah.
But and so I'm just like, wow, this is beautiful. I feel nothing but like the most intense, pure gratitude and surrender and acceptance and beauty and love. And so this branch of the dark, because the way it had divided from the tree, it was like sharp on the heavy end and had the foliage on it. It was like a dart coming straight down for me. Everything totally stops. Time stops, and it's like right here. It's right above my head. It freezes in the air, and then slowly moves over to my left, about 1.5 feet. And then, bam! Time begins again, and it stabs into the ground and stands upright for like 1.5 minutes. And I'm like,
oh my God! Wow!
And so then immediately. Okay, now I'm trying to explain this part because I can't put it in context with the chronology of what happened here, but at some point during this experience, maybe when everything was going slow or something, there was a craft that appeared over my house at my apartment, and it was like a silver, oval-shaped, like kind of football-shaped silver thing with no windows or anything, and it came, and I had this innate knowing that it was just there for me, that if anybody else was looking at this point in the sky, they probably, I didn't feel like they would see it. This was just for me. I also knew that there were 2 beings in it, and they felt angelic. I knew that these were not outer space aliens, and I felt at this point that there's no such thing as outer space aliens. With this experience, prior to that, I was open to the possibility. But when this happened, I'm like, these are from here, and they've been here longer than we have, and it was that pure love, and I got a new body, man. So
wow.
So within like 2 months, I was down to my optimum 180 pounds.
That's what I was fixing to say. You don't look like you're in a 350-pound body. I was like, God damn.
Nah, man. I'm fit, dude. I'm like, anyway. Oh, I got like the loose skin from having been so.
Yeah. I was fixing to ask about that too.
But I was instantly healed. I had broken bones in my foot that were protruding out on the top of my foot, and that was healed. I had teeth that were like abscessing from all the poor hygiene and drugs, and like I have super strong teeth now. I would have never done that before, chomping them like that. I had someone started feeding back and lost my train of thought. But so anyway, I was just completely healed. I've never had a fucking hint of asthma or any kind of allergies to any kind of animals since then. And for probably 6 months or 4 or 5 months, whatever, after this point, I was manifesting everything that I thought. Like if I thought, I didn't want for anything, I felt so blessed. But like, if a thought crossed my mind, like I'm thirsty, somebody would come up and hand me a 5-gallon jug of clean spring water, or like or if I was like, man, the car would literally stop and a guy would get out and be like, hey, I got this extra carton of smokes, you want it? Like weird shit like this.
Wow.
I gave away all my shit because I had a bunch of shit that I'm like, I don't need any of this. And somebody else could gain from it better than me. I would just get on the city bus in Daytona Beach and I would ride around. I would take things from my house and just be like, maybe I'm gonna find whoever needs this, and I'd end up spending, multiple hours talking to some random home bum that, or a crackhead or whatever, and just be like, here, man. And yeah, it rang out like a bell, dude. That manifestation and beautiful, like everything just presto changeo manifesto shit.
Is it reduced in intensity? In other words, are you still manifesting like this, or is it a little bit less now?
It reduced in intensity. It got either to where it just became normal, but there's been times since then, because now this was almost 10 years ago now, and like 8-9 years ago, and now I would like to be back at that point. I mean, obviously life happens, things aren't always so.
What I feel you telling me is it's starting to reverberate. In other words, the wave is coming back. You're already at the cusp of the beginning of starting to do another manifestation like that. Am I right?
I think one of the troubles that I encounter if I desire too much to reach that, like the Taoist interpretation of desire bears the seed of lack.
Yeah.
Because it's the fear of not obtaining that said desire. So it's like, to achieve samadhi, or to you have to not care, kind of. But yeah, having tasted that, it really changed a lot in my world.
Me.
And so leading into the experiences and how I became acquainted with Max Spears and James Casbolt and these guys.
What do you mean acquainted? Like you read their books and stuff?
No, like we would converse and stuff. Yeah. Max and I got really close. Max was one of my best friends in the world. The last message he sent me, the day before he died, he sent me a message that said, in my thoughts, brother, please be careful. Shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
That's the last message I got from him.
Wow.
But we talked pretty regular there the last year of his life. But okay, cool. And but anyway, so in 2013 now, this is a couple years after that experience, I'd been experiencing. Well, here's what happened. Here's the sequence of events. I told a few different experiencers and abductees about my healing thing, about what occurred under the tree and the craft and the beings, because I wanted people to know these aren't outer space aliens.
Right.
And when I connected to this, and maybe I'm wrong because I'm about to drop a name, but when I told Lorien Fenton from MUFON, when I sent her a message about this experience, I immediately started getting gray abduction scenarios.
Really?
Which I believe were my labs. I don't believe in outer space aliens, and I think that somehow, I don't know, I feel like it's a technology that they're able to lull you into a sleep, because you get the missing time, but it would feel like an electronic fog comes over the room, like an atmospheric pressure change type thing, and then and just the irresistible urge to fall asleep on narcoleptic. And that's what I would experience.
Right.
And then and I'd float through walls and stuff like that, like levitate off my bed and go through a wall, or and on more than one occasion saw actual grays in my apartment, or and so, but and Ann asked me the other day if I'd ever been inside a craft or experimented on in that manner, and I don't have any kind of recollection of any inside crafts or anything.
Okay.
But I feel like these were my labs, and that I was essentially tagged because I told the wrong person or group. MUFON is a mutual UFO investigation network. I think maybe by telling them about that I was having an experience, they came to tag me.
Well, yeah. Or here's an idea. Hey, check out this idea. Like this abduction, whether it's aliens or MyLabs or whatever it is, somehow everybody's already tagged from birth. In other words, if you're only a very small part of the population can be, abducted or whatever, because you've got some number on you, and they know that they're following these rules. They cannot abduct anyone except they have that number. But somehow, maybe you already had the number, or maybe by talking about this to that lady Loria Fenton, you put your name in that hat or something. You gave your permission somehow. Maybe I'm just saying it's a theory. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying.
Sure, yeah, and well, even going back, I think there's genetic reasons too for certain of us that have experiences. I'm Cherokee and Celt, and I hear that's sought after. When I was a kid in New Mexico, I grew up in a town called Plas, New Mexico.
Oh, I know.
Which is, do you know Plas? It was bought by Home Security just after 9/11. Everybody who lived in this town, it was a copper mining corporation town, and population just 300 something in its heyday. So it was erected in the 1970s. It popped up in the middle of nowhere. It's like 2 hours to the nearest town with a large-sized supermarket.
With a hospital, you got to drive
one direction, and the hospital.
Yeah, you got to drive 2 hours to get to a hospital.
Yeah, you get airlifted to Tucson or Las Cruces or El Paso.
Right.
But Homeland Security and DARPA purchased the town after 9/11.